Annapolis as member of the Legislative Assembly since being elected in 2003. Stephen is the leader of the Nova Scotia Liberal Party and Nova Scotia's official opposition, leading a team of 13 representatives from across the province. The Nova Scotia Liberal Party and caucus are focused on strengthening Nova Scotia's economy, education, and healthcare system through open and accountable action. Raised in a large and close-knit family in Annapolis Valley, Stephen is dedicated to the values that have surrounded him: honesty, integrity, and hard work. Having owned and operated a small business for 18 years, Stephen knows the value of Nova Scotia's entrepreneurs and the small businesses across this province. He knows that opportunities come from people in our communities, and that Nova Scotians are eager to work together to move the province forward. Stephen and his wife Andrea reside in Upper Granville, Annapolis County, and they are the proud parents of 2 children, Colleen and Jeffrey. Ladies and gentlemen, the Liberal leader of the province of Nova Scotia, the Honourable Stephen McNeil.
Thanks very much, Dan. They've tweaked my bio. They say I'm from a large, close-knit family. They used to say I was from a family of 17 children. And at that point, everyone wanted to know about my mother. No one wanted to know anything about me. Thanks very much for the introduction. It's great to be visiting my neighbors. As was mentioned in my bio, I represent the riding of Annapolis, which butts onto us in New Germany, and some of my constituents actually attend school here at New Germany Elementary School. They come across from the Springfield, and many of my constituents, of course, come across here for whether it's their medical appointments, for the commerce, or quite frankly, to socialize. This is their connection. They in many ways feel much closer to the South Shore than they do to the Annapolis Valley. So when they come over, I hope you treat them well, send them back, and remind them that I'm still there, will you? It's great to be here to talk to you a little bit about some of the challenges that I see facing our province and some of the opportunities. You know, in 2009, when I had the privilege to lead our party in the last election campaign, many Nova Scotians were looking and hoping for change. They voted with that in mind, wanting to recognize that things had to be done differently, and were hoping to see things to be done differently. I would dare say, as I travel the province, one of the things that I hear more and more every day is how disappointed Nova Scotians have been in the fact that the status quo seems to be alive and well in Nova Scotia. Many Nova Scotians are ahead, quite frankly, of their elected representatives when it comes to understanding that the status quo has to go. When I look at economic development in Nova Scotia, whether it is really for decades under all 3 political parties, the Liberal Party, the Conservative Party, and now we can proudly say under the Democratic Party, we've had the worst performing economy in all of Canada. And when you look at what has happened over the last 4 years, we've attempted to tackle the problem in the same old way, looking for someone else outside of the province to come in, solve our economic challenges, reach into the pocketbooks of Nova Scotians, invest our hard-earned money with someone who's going to come in, give them a payroll rebate to create jobs in Nova Scotia, instead of looking, quite frankly, at our own communities. I believe there is a solution to the challenges facing the economy of Nova Scotia, and it's staring right back at me in this room and many rooms across this province. As was mentioned earlier, I ran a small business in the province of Nova Scotia. I never felt, quite frankly, like I was a business owner, even though I was employing people. I often felt like I was a tax collector. As long as I was remitting my taxes, everything was okay, but God help it if I was late, I would hear from somebody. When in actual fact, as I look across the communities that I represent, in many communities across Nova Scotia, there are men and women just like I was, who were mortgaging their own house, investing their children's future education fund, and betting it on a good idea, betting it on an opportunity that they could create a job for themselves and for future members of the community in the province, in the community that they lived in the province they loved. But in no way do we in any way support them. We use the phrase that small business is the backbone of the economy of Nova Scotia. And yet, payroll rebates are provided to those who come in from away in large numbers. What's wrong with the idea of providing a payroll rebate and leveling the playing field and providing it to every Nova Scotia business who's providing an opportunity to create a job? One job, whether it's in Bridgewater, whether it's in Bridgetown, whether it's in Inverness County, is just as important as 25 jobs on the waterfront in Halifax. So why are we ignoring the hardworking men and women of Nova Scotia who have been employing Nova Scotians for generations. I think that if we bet and work with and invest in Nova Scotians, we will weather any tough economic time that comes our way and provide stable, long-term employment for Nova Scotians. You know, when you think about it, if you look at, and it's happened many times throughout the last number of decades where we've gone through tough economic times. And if you look at the businesses that have survived, they've survived because they believed in their employees and they believed in the community that they live in. Many small business owners, whether they look across the shop floor or whether they look across the barn floor or the boardroom table, they see more than just an employee. They see someone who is a hockey coach for their children, a Sunday school teacher, someone who they bump into in the grocery store, someone who believes in the values of the community that they're presently living in and want to build that community. So small business owners, regardless of what profession they're in, the last thing they want to do is lay off one of their employees. As a matter of fact, many of them will go without making a profit in a particular year to make sure that they keep their workforce strong and ready to take advantage of the opportunities that always exist at the end of an economic downturn. It's time that we begin to believe in ourselves and invest in ourselves and trust, quite frankly, that we have the answers to the challenges that we face as communities and as a province. We don't need to look for someone else to solve the economic challenges of Nova Scotia. We need to look to Nova Scotians to solve that challenge, and a government that is prepared to not accept the status quo, and a government who's prepared to invest in Nova Scotians.